there, go out from here with confidence, become men and women of integrity as you have been bequeathed by your lecturers and your parents with the right morals. We wish you all the best. Lastly, allow me to most sincerely thank God for making this day our success, our chief guest for gracing our occasion. We are highly humbled. My mom for believing in me. Mom, you can wave the crowd. Yeah. My mom for believing in me. Surely you are the best. My two sons for your encouragement. All the staff and students of Gorgeous Technical Institute for believing in your institution. Our parents, guardian for being our greatest partner, and everyone else who found his or her time to grace this occasion. Thank you. Hongera sana to our graduates. And now it's my pleasure to invite our chief guest, Honorable Ndindi Nyoro.
Thank you very much, our Director of GTI, Madam Jackie, the other guests, Daktari, who we went to the same campus, Dr. Naomi, my MCA at home, who is also a renowned national artist, Mheshimiwa Gathe Wajeri, is actually my MCA at home. All the other people in the entertainment industry, Kamwana wa Jane, Kamothamaki, Nyojoro, and all the others. Those who are graduating today, the graduates of GTI, including our parents and guardians, and all those who have come to witness our graduation. Good afternoon. GTI oye! GTI oye! GTI oye! Asante sana. I'll be very brief because I know after this we have arranged several celebrations, but I want to start by congratulating all the graduates, the over 180 who are graduating today. Congratulations to all of you. I also want to laud the vision of Madam Jackie as a young lady who is an entrepreneur and a director of GTI. I also want to laud you and I wish you all the best. May this college become much bigger than even Kenya, so that there will be GTI even other countries. And even having GTI as a university is not a pipe dream, so pursue it. I have just a few points. Some were highlighted by Dr. Naomi. We are graduating today. And when we are graduating, what comes to our mind is then what next? But even as we ask that question, it is important for us to look back and reminisce the many moments we had here at the Gorgeous Technical Institute, because life is incremental. Even as you head forward, it is important to appreciate where you are coming from. So all the moments you have shared here, the friends you have created, the knowledge you have gained, it is important for you to look back, appreciate. Don't cut that down, because it is what you are now. Secondly, na munisikiza vizuri wenye tuna graduate, and even the parents. When I look at my life, I always believe I am the sum total of all my experiences. My father used to live here in Thika, basically in Kiadutu slums. That's where my father used to work, to live, because he was a carpenter here in Thika. And Thika is always very close to me, because when I was in Form 3 in Kiabugi Secondary Boys, my sister, who was operating a hardware here in Thika, had started a mtumba, a place called Mokereti, near Moi Gardens, pale karibu MKU. Those tall buildings there, ilikuwa soko. So I used to sell mutumba there when I was in Form 3 to supplement my school fees. And now I am standing before you, having been given the position I am serving by the people of Kenya and by God, and especially by God. But for me to be Ndindi Nyoro standing before you now, I have to be the person whose father was living in Kiadutu. I have to be the person who was selling mutumba at Mokereti. And if I try to remove any part of me, the experiences I've gone through, whether good or bad, then I'm no longer Ndindi Nyoro who is standing before you. So accept all the situations you have gone through in your life, the good ones and the bad ones. Because the bad ones, many times, they become lessons. They become lessons for us to be better. Where we have been lowly, it is a lesson for us on how to behave when we are no longer in that low position. So though all the experiences we have gone through at Gorgeous College is an opportunity to make us who we are becoming. Not just what we have become, but who we are becoming in the next few years. One of the things I want you to carry home as you graduate. When I was in year 1 in KU, that's where I went. And actually even Gade Wajeri, these artists, you know, sometimes we appreciate only their talents, like how he has entertained us, or the leadership qualities, for example, being an MCA. But Mheshimiwa Gade Wajeri is actually also a graduate from KU. He also did economics like myself. So masomo ni muhimu. Unaweza keti na kijua tunakuja function na wewe, usivae koti uonekane kama wewe uko na kiti kubwa kuniliko tafadhali. Asante sana. So as we go home, something I learned in my first year in campus, that even as I get the papers and the knowledge in my mind, I need to translate that knowledge into something practical. So from my first year in campus, I went to volunteer. One, I went to the Ministry of Trade. That time it was based at Kencom. I volunteered there for some months without any pay, because I figured out volunteering even without pay will pay me more than being idle. Because even if I'm not being appreciated by being given a stipend or a salary, I am gaining experience. In the same first year, when we were in our long vacation, I was volunteering in a company that was owned by Honorable Kenya Kariuki, our former MP. He was doing stockbroking. I volunteered there because I knew the experience I'm getting there, whether on no pay or a low pay, it was better than being idle. The stockbroking I volunteered to do at Kenya Kariuki's farm is something I do up to today. So as you go out, whichever course you are taking, you better volunteer in that salon for no pay than be idle. Because it is through learning the practical experience that then you gain much more than even the monetary compensation. The second thing, we all graduate from universities, from colleges, and then what? To look for jobs. Where do these jobs come from? Because everyone graduating is looking forward to applying for a job. We need to always constantly ask ourselves, these jobs we are seeking, where did they come from? And as we ponder about that, we need to know that the mindset for the today's graduate in the modern world, whether in Kenya or elsewhere, is value creation. And for you to create more value as a person, you'll create more value when you are not looking for a job, but you are looking to create your job, and you are looking forward to create a job for other people. But then how do you do that? As you venture into entrepreneurship, because I believe all of us will end up there. That is my prayer and wish. As you look to create a business, whether in plumbing, whether in hospitality, whether in designing apparels like this one, whether in the field of beauty, have some deeper interest. Don't just be superficial. If, for example, you are in the beauty industry, don't look at it as beauty as a salon. Look at it as something luxury. Because some of the products you end up using there have made many people billionaires. The richest person in France today, the richest woman actually in France, is for a company called L'Oreal. That company is within what you studied here. So don't just seek at looking in using the products. Look even backwards, what is called backward integration. Where do these products come from? Which gap can I fill in? Is there opportunity? So as you graduate and you are looking forward to starting a business, look for gaps. Gaps within what you want to start the business within. And gaps can be anything. You could be a plumber. Maybe today's plumbing in Kenya is not institutionalized. So when anyone is looking for a plumber, you just have to look for an individual. Maybe there is a gap of you creating a company, and a company of plumbing only. And that company anyone can call. When they are building a house in Section 9, in Majengo, in Wetaithie, maybe there is a gap there where you can institutionalize whatever you learned here and you remain within a certain market where you realize there is a gap. The other thing is a story. And that story is based on some of the people who are doing hospitality. And within there is preparing delicious meals. There was a man who was semi-retired, and he had a passion of coming up with something tasty. And that thing was based around how you can cook chicken, and that chicken can taste differently from how many other farms cook their kitchen or kitchens cook their chicken, sorry. And he was already old, but he created, and he was trying to create a way of making chicken taste differently. And he came up with a recipe. And after he came up with the recipe, he went around asking for many hotels to include that recipe in their menu. And he went for in the first hotel, they declined. The second didn't even listen to him. The third and fourth, they declined. He went for over 1,000 pitches. Pitching is when you go to request for somebody to take up a product that you have developed. Over 1,000 pitches were declined. Then at 1,004, some people decided to give him a chance. And they included that recipe within whatever they were doing. That recipe I'm talking about today is the hotel we call KFC. And the man I'm talking about is the man when you go to KFC, you see somebody smiling there. That is the man I'm talking about, called Colonel Sanders. So when you graduate from GTI today, the world may not be very kind to you as you graduate. You may not get open arms and people telling you karibu. You may get a lot of dejections and rejections, but those are just things to tell you there is something better ahead. any rejection you get is tapping you at the back and telling you, you are better than this. So when you go to look for an opportunity anywhere and you don't get it, you must not go and start crying and looking back at what you don't have. Appreciate that wherever you never got a chance is because you are overqualified for that chance. And the chance that actually qualifies you is the one that is ahead. So you must keep trying, because this world has no space for quitters, and this world has no place for people who get choked down by rejections so easily. So you need to focus, and you need to have the fortitude to conquer the world. As I finish, as you start your business, whatever it is, even if you'll be alone as a plumber, and the business is you called Omodi, or the business is you called Mwangi, or the business is you called Wafula the plumber, please, from your first time you get that job to do the plumbing, to do hospitality in any event, from your first job that you get, institutionalize what you are doing. Register even a business name. Hata kama huna pesa ya kuregister a limited company, register even a business name. Start bookkeeping early. The first job you get to do plumbing in Salama Estate, open a book. Start documenting those jobs, because that is what is called a profile when you are creating a business. From your first one, andika pahali nilipwa hii, nikatumia hii, nikabakisha hii. Why? There is a time we went home. Now, my mother being a peasant farmer, tukamfanyisha mahesabu na my siblings. You know, like all our Geshagi homes, all our parents own cows, ng'ombe. So tukaenda nyumbani, tukapia madhe kuja tufanye hesabu hapa kidogo. Uko na ng'ombe hapa, tukituma ka M-Pesa, unanunua ng'ombe, unanunulia ng'ombe chakula. Kila time mgongo inauma. Kwa nini? Kuchunia dhara hiyo ng'ombe. Kila time you can't even go to visit anywhere. Na ulale. Kwa nini? Nani atapea ng'ombe yangu majani? Kamwambia kaa hapa na kalamu na kitabu. How many liters of milk do you get from this cow? Akaweka. How much per month? Akaweka. What is the input of this cow? Akaweka. In the long run, we realized she was a slave of that cow, because she was spending more money to keep that cow than she was getting from that cow. Wiki haikuisha bili, akauza hiyo ng'ombe. That is what we mostly do as small business people, and I've been there. Ile inaitwa kwa Kikuyu kuhorani ya pesa na kuhorani ya madhaa. So we are always busy. Oh, pole, nitakupigia baadaye. Oh, Mwangi, I'll call you back. Wafula, I'll call you later. Busy all the time. But we never sit down to realize, what are we busy doing? Always look at the output. Don't look at the input only. I wake up in the morning, by 5 I was up. Fanya hesabu jioni. After waking up at 5 a.m. in the morning. So, what happened within the day? You may realize you are busy, but you are busy not just doing nothing, but doing negative. You may realize you are busy, but at the end of the day in the evening, you had spent more than you had earned. So even as a small business person, because we all start, let me rephrase that, because there is no small person. Even as an owner of a small business, focus to do bookkeeping, because it shows you kama ni pesa horania or you are actually making progress, so that you price yourself right and you are able to generate revenue and capital to do more things as you proceed. Nikimaliza, this may not be about gorgeous. I'm done about gorgeous. Pigieni makofi tafadhali. That is on a light note. Tuko hapa mambo ya elimu because GTI is a college. And there are things we must constantly do as leaders to improve elimu ya Wakenya. Na kwa sababu hapa tuko college, naonanga hata kwa budget ya nchi huwa tunapea support private universities where there are students sponsored by government. Maybe it is a high time the ministry concerned of higher education, na pia department ya TVET, it is the high time they also start giving sponsorship to private students in private universities. Because the labor force, when you graduate from GTI, which is private, you become part of the labor force of the Republic of Kenya. When you graduate from GTI or any other private university or private institution, being a college or a TTI, you now transition to become part of the labor force of Kenya. And therefore, the sponsorship that we continue to give even the public colleges, even the private colleges, what they do is to refine the labor force of Kenya, and therefore they deserve the same kind of support. The second thing, in the last few weeks, tumeona mtu mmoja wa serikali anasema kuna free basic education. Mwingine anatokea anasema, oh, we can't afford. And ultimately they said, we want to support. Tunauliza ministry husika ya elimu and the National Treasury. Free basic education is not a privilege. Free basic education is a right for all school-going children in Kenya. And if it is true, as you say, that you support free basic education, shule zimebakia wiki mbili wafungue. Tafadhali, in all the institutions from primary school, to JS, to the senior secondary, tunaomba na tunauliza, and we are also demanding that the arrears ile haijalipwa ya capitation itumwe kwa mashule zetu so that they can continue offering quality education to the learners in Kenya. Wanafunzi wakifungua third term wasiende tena kugoja pesa, ni pesa iende igoje wanafunzi. Na tena, by the time the schools had done the budget, especially the senior secondary, of 22,000 capitation per year, it is not a figure that came from the air. It was based on empirical calculations in terms of the functions that the schools do. Na kwa hivyo, 22,000, Kenya should never be having a discussion about whether to reduce 22,000 to whichever figure. We should be talking about increasing the figure to cover up for the inflationary pressures that has come in the many years back. Na ya mwisho, jana tumeona ile inaitwa EPRA, wale wanatoa bei ya mafuta Kenya. They came up yesterday and decided that they are only going to lower only one category of product by only 1 shilling. I want to remind my brothers and sisters who are in the policy now, hii Kenya shilingi hata peremende hainunui. Na kwa hivyo it is important we know that bei ya mafuta carries the entire economy. Last month they hiked the fuel prices by 9 shillings. Ikikuja ni kuongeza, tunaongeza na shilingi 8 ama 9. Ikikuja ni drop, we drop by 1 shilling. And I am saying this because I know bei ya mafuta Kenya is the highest in the region. In the region, there is no neighboring country ambayo inauza mafuta Kenya. Ambayo inauza mafuta bei ghali kuliko Kenya. Whether it is Tanzania, Uganda, hata mafuta ya Uganda ile inapitia Kenya, poti ya Kenya. Watu wa Uganda wanunua mafuta bei ya chini kuliko Kenya. Shida ya bei ya mafuta Kenya ni maneno ya kodi and levies, and especially the levy of 7 shillings that was introduced last year. So tunauliza kwa unyenyekevu sana, wacha tuache kukibiza economy yetu na vitu za juu, kwa sababu when the prices increase, you are giving investors alternatives to look for other countries. Na sasa hii ina happen kuwa na bei ya juu ya mafuta. It is happening around the same time ambayo serikali inasema ati hizi barabara zote kubwa, barabara ya kwenda Nakuru, barabara ya kwenda Mombasa, kama hii ya Thika Road, ati wataweka toll stations. Roads is a public good, and public goods are supplied by government for free. So I want to ask those who are doing these mechanisms like PPP and tolling of roads. We cannot afford to have an economy where the prices of fuel are the highest in the region, and then we want to toll the roads. That will make Kenya a very uncompetitive economy, and it will lower the ease of doing business when it comes to Kenya. Hii barabara ya Nakuru kutoka Nairobi, serikali inaweza pata hiyo kodi, inaweza pata hiyo pesa inayohitajika without doing the expensive PPP. Watu wa Nakuru ambao wanaenda mpaka Eldoret, wengine wanaenda the western part of Kenya including Nyanza, wanafaa wajengewe barabara from Rironi all the way to be dulled without making them pay to use that road in the name of toll. Because you cannot install a toll on a corridor road like the one coming from Mombasa going to Malamba. Any section of that road must not be tolled, because when you do that, you are increasing the cost of doing business and you are moving investments out of our economy. Na hayo mengi, asanteni sana. May God bless you. I wish you all the best.